The Niners are one of the better teams across the entire league at drafting, especially in the later rounds where they get absolute steals. And today, they're moving down from their 90-man roster all the way down to their 53-man roster, so several rookies made the team. But two people that I think are going to turn out to be steals like Brock Purdy are Jalen Graham and Ronnie Bell. In this video, I hope to break down both of them and what I expect going forward during this season. To begin, we need to talk about the Niners' linebacking duties. Right now, the starters are Fred Warner as well as Dre Greenlaw, but there's a question mark when it comes to the third linebacker spot as Oren Burks went down with an injury. So this leaves many people looking towards now the rookie Jalen Graham as a potential starter, at least in the long term. I mean, for instance, when you're watching him in this preseason, you see that he's racked up a crazy amount of tackles and even led the team in the week against the Raiders. Some things that really stood out during these preseason games are his instincts. You see him take his first step, read the play, and then diagnose it and shoot his gap. He's not hesitant, and as a linebacker in the NFL, if you're hesitant, you're going to be beat, especially because he doesn't have D. Winter's speed of 4.4. But I do think he makes up for it because he might be a little bit more instinctual than D. Winters currently. Additionally, Graham has something the Niners love, and that's defensive back experience. In high school, Graham played quarterback as well as defensive back, and then made the switch over when he got to Purdue. And while Graham played defensive back as well as quarterback, he was a better defensive back, being labeled as a 3-star recruit before committing to Purdue, as I mentioned. Graham, similar to Purdy, who was the last pick last year, had a lot of games played in college. He played from 2019 all the way to 2022 and played in 38 games. Across his seasons, he amassed some crazy statistics as well, having a total of 169 tackles, 12.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 3 interceptions, as well as 2 touchdowns, 3 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. So with an overview of Jalen Graham's college career stat-wise, let's look at his athletic profile and then what scouts were saying about him. He came out at 6'2", weighing 220 pounds, and had an arm length of 33 inches. He ran his 40-yard dash in 4.64 seconds and had a 10-yard split of 1.68 seconds. But what were scouts saying about Jalen Graham? He had a motor that really ran all day. He also was aggressive in the run game and had that great downfield ability that I mentioned earlier in this video that we saw in the preseason games. And he also had great instincts that made him dangerous when dropping into zone coverage, most likely due to his defensive back days. But he did have some weaknesses, most notably due to his athletic profile, such as his lackluster 40-yard time made him a question mark in possibly man coverage down the field. While this is what scouts said about him coming out, I do think that a lot of it has carried over, but I haven't really seen his 40-yard time be too apparent on the field, and maybe he actually plays a little bit faster than that because he flows sideline to sideline. It's not like you need a blistering fast 40-yard line to be a successful linebacker. When you're looking at even Dre Greenlaw, he comes in at 4.65, so Graham is right there at 4.64. Additionally, a strength I don't think many scouts mentioned about Graham coming out was his ability to pick up concepts, because this offseason, he's played a lot of middle linebacking role, which is really hard for a rookie to pick up. And according to all reports, he's exceeded the Niners' expectations. So while Jalen Graham has made it through his first hurdle, and a major one at that for a 7th-round rookie and making the 53-man roster, the grind still continues, and Jalen Graham has the opportunity to contribute, not only on special teams, but potentially taking over the third linebacking role this season. And that wouldn't surprise me. I think he's a great young linebacker, and on the film, you see him stand out. With the coaching of Johnny Hollins, I'll see him continue to improve from year 1 to year 2. For me, I think picking Graham with the 255th pick, especially with him making the roster now, looks like an absolute steal. He's a linebacker that's instinctual, hard-hitting, and fits exactly the mold the Niners love. Another guy the Niners absolutely stole in the 7th round is Ronnie Bell. He was picked 2 picks before Graham with the 253 overall pick. Much like Graham, Bell is looking to make an immediate impact despite being a 7th round rookie. Bell plays several positions while he's listed as a wide receiver. He's also a punt return and kick return specialist, which is great because Ray McCloud, the Niners' usual kick return specialist, is out with an injury. So Bell initially should start there. But whether it be catching a kickoff return or catching a pass, once Bell does get the ball in his hands, he's dangerous, and we've seen this carry over from his college days from Michigan to the pros, because this preseason he's been running over people, making multiple people miss, and even on some end-around plays, he's dangerous. And I would like to see Kyle Shanahan not only use him as a punt returner and a kick returner, but maybe as an offensive weapon. Much like Graham, I am going to examine Bell's career up to this point for 2 reasons. 1, to get a glimpse into what he can be, but 2, it's also nice just to see how the Niners are able to pick up these absolute steals. And as I highlighted with Graham, I think a big portion of it is picking based off production rather than an athletic projection, but Bell is pretty athletic. And to say that Bell was productive across his earlier years, whether it be high school or college, would be an understatement. As a senior in Park Hill High School, Bell caught 89 passes for 1,605 yards and 21 touchdowns. Ronnie Bell, after this crazy season at Park Hill High School, committed to Michigan and played there from 2018 all the way to 2022. That's a total of 5 years. He played in 47 games, amassing 2,269 yards receiving, 9 touchdowns that way, 1 touchdown through rushing, and he also had several returns. So with some of Bell's stats out of the way, let's talk about his athletic profile. He came in at 6 foot at the combine at 31-inch arms, 191 pounds, and he ran his 40-yard dash in 4.54 seconds. Not elite for a wide receiver, but his 10-yard split of 1.52 seconds is pretty impressive. Deshaun Jackson ran his in 1.50 seconds. CMC ran his in 1.55 seconds. So Bell in a 10-yard area is quicker than CMC, so a little bit better of an athlete than many people make him seem. But what were scouts saying about Ronnie Bell? They saw strengths as well as weaknesses. A big strength is him coming back from his 2021 ACL tear and then having an extremely productive season. He also has great hands and an ability to adjust mid-air. He's a great run blocker, but he does have some weaknesses, such as maybe not top in 40-yard time. This may mean that Bell has to be schemed open, but I do think that's something Kyle Shanahan has demonstrated an ability to do with several different players. Additionally, during this preseason, Bell's been the leading weapon on offense and a deadly returner. He's breaking people's tackles, and I love watching Bell on the field. But there are some areas where I think Bell needs to improve his game, such as his drops so far in preseason, which a couple of those turned into turnovers. He also needs to make sure he doesn't fumble when he's having these punt return and kick return duties, because Kyle Shanahan will replace him. This year, I do think we will see a whole lot of Bell, especially at the start of the season. I imagine him taking on like a Debo/Ray McCloud type role if he does see time on the offensive side of the ball. However, we will see him on punt return and kick return duties if I was to bet. So with my thoughts of the 2 greatest steals in this NFL draft class, who's your biggest steal? Is it Braden Willis or someone else? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. It would also mean a ton to me if you liked and subscribed. And as always, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.